Really happy to be in studio. We have Not So Christian brothers and the gang back together. Well, kind of back together. Beatrice and Justin here. And of course, we're waiting for Colm to return. It was a heavy week. It's important to be really honest about things. We've obviously seen our friend and your brother go through a lot. Justin.
Same parents, different timelines, and united by chaos. Strap on, strap in, for the Not So Christian brothers.
Thanks, Bex. Yeah, it's been really tough. Colm lost Anne on Tuesday, and we had a funeral on Saturday morning, which was a beautiful send-off. And Colm is just spending time with his son Alex and daughter Holly. Thankfully, they've taken a few days away to come through it, and anybody who's been with us on a journey so far will know that Anne was battling with stage 4 cancer since 2019. She lived an incredible life, and I think the funeral was a beautiful tribute to her life and to the challenges that she faced. But hopefully Colm's going to come back and talk to us a bit about that when we get him back in the studio. And apologies, I'm a bit kind of lost on trying to describe this because it's not an easy topic to...
It's not. I think you did a beautiful job. And I think, do you know what? Even this podcast, which is going from strength to strength, is so beautiful. And Colm and you together is what makes this podcast. And even the fact that he has showed up every week for us in the last few weeks or few months that we've been doing this since the summer. And he did that with great heart and energy. And he was going through that. Kind of tells a lot about a man. And, you know, it's heartbreaking. I think talking about it too much is just going to send us off, and I know hopefully he returns and we'll talk about it, but I will say this: what a funeral. And that sounds so bizarre and odd, but it was so beautiful, funny. I have to say the word funny because they were so gorgeous about her and the positives in her life. And Colm gave the most incredible eulogy, as you'd only expect from someone like Colm, so articulate and all these little moments. But you're correct, Justin, an absolute send-off. And in keeping with that, and I think it is important to not kind of like go off-piste too much because we're kind of in it. You're particularly in it, Justin, and have been there for Colm the whole way through that. You were running in and out of hospital, working at the same time, Beatrice and you holding it together. I think it's important to kind of touch on this topic of death and legacy and celebrating life. So I was going to start with that today, if that's okay. And actually what I wanted to talk about is when you go, what you want to be celebrated for, because it was a lot about Anne's joy for life, her adventures, her travels and compassion. And I think I'd love to talk to you both about what you'd like to be remembered for, but also Anne had 4 things brought up to the top of the church to remember her. And it was perfume, her passport, a caricature of their dog, who they were so fond of. And I think the other thing was a drink she enjoyed. Those 4 things were actually just so perfect, and I want to know also what you would have. So there you go. That is Not So Christian Brothers this week.
I think it's a wonderful tradition to have, and I don't know if this is a tradition just in Ireland at funerals or if it is in other cultures as well. But to bring something that the people that are staying behind that represents that person. And it could be different than what the person would have picked themselves. So it's how people see you. But I think it's a lovely way to describe the person. Even I have found myself in Ireland at funerals of people that I didn't know very well because maybe it was a parent of a friend. But through these 4 items, you really get to know the person in just with 4 objects and a few words that are usually expressed. And I thought it was a wonderful way of remembering Anne on Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. I think as tradition goes, Ireland is super at death. You know, like if it was an Olympic sport.
That is incredible. That is incredible. You are so right. I've never heard anyone say that. We're so good at it.
We really are.
We're so dark.
We're dark. I think we bring humor to it. We bring levity even to funerals, and I think that's important. And I think the idea of those gifts and being brought up, they kind of bring the death of the person to life, and then it turns into this celebration of somebody's life. And I found it really hard to be there on Saturday and to see the pain of my brother and my niece and nephew. But I was really heartened by seeing them smile, seeing them find kind of good moments in darkness, and I think that's what we do really well. We haven't spoken about this, so I have no idea what you would actually have. And it's funny because obviously in reality, right, I would be bringing up your gifts and you would probably be bringing up mine, so we wouldn't really know. So, I
No,
don't
exactly,
know.
that's
Not
what I
if
mean.
she
You would
finds
pick-
someone else in the meantime. Like, how dare you assume that you will be celebrating Beatrice? Sorry, I had to be bold there. Just the face on him, he's about
if
to
you
kill
find
me.
anybody else, I told you already, I want my urn in the bedroom,
Watching?
facing the bed.
Okay, you're creepy. That's
Right,
really
and I
creepy.
don't mean in some kind of cuckold, screwed up kind of idea, right? I mean, as in, leave her alone.
So is this 12 o'clock Friday? You suddenly come alive? Okay, let's move on from this.
So, what's your item? What's number one then?
So number one, I think would be something that remembers or that for me represents us as a family and our family life. And I think it would be a blanket, one of our blankets at home. We have a lot of blankets. And for me, it kind of represents time that we spend together as a family watching TV. At the moment, we have something that the three of us, we watch together. And it's, for me, that just represents family time. So the first one would be a blanket, one of our blankets at home.
Nice. Okay. Well, we're a bunch of saddos. Actually, this is not really going to be contrasting because my first idea was a photograph of you guys, and I think again for me, I think when I think back to being a younger man and when Luca was born, I think I had plenty of periods in my life when I was younger when I thought I'm a super being or more important than the family or more important than everybody. And it's only through humility and then the tragic death of Joshua, our second son, that I got to really appreciate the thing that grounds me most, and that is just being with you guys. And I know when I think back 10 years ago to struggling with anxiety and overwhelm and going through all that phase of my life, which thankfully I don't have now, but a critical component to me not having that is that I need to be not away from you guys for too long, because I know that that's where the energy that just kind of goes, take the bins out, shut the fuck up.
We are again.
You're not that important. And then I feel like, okay, can I make you a cup of tea?
Yes. So what would be the second item?
The second item for me, I think, would probably be something to signify kind of health, nature, movement, the body, breathing, getting outside, moving your body. I think, again, everything for me, really, I have to look at through the realm of 2015. I was probably maybe a borderline alcoholic, but definitely not having a good relationship with alcohol, drinking way too much, traveling ridiculous amount of times. I remember sitting in an airport lounge with a pilot from Ryanair who said to me that he wouldn't actually be allowed to fly as much as I do under their policies, and he was telling me how awful flying that often is because you have radiation and you also keep compressing the body because you keep getting squashed. When the plane takes off and lands and you see that plastic bottle squeeze in, that's us. And I think all of that manic lifestyle of traveling all over the place, living a ridiculous life, once flying to Sydney for a meeting.
For a week or for 4 days.
4 days and then flying back again, like just ridiculous stuff. And I think the contrast to all of that is just, how important it is to get outside, to walk, to connect to nature, to breathe, meditate, slow down. I think anybody who would ever live on my shoulder for a day would probably still think I live a pretty manic life, and I do because I've got a million things going on. But I know how to make really good space.
So what would be the actual object?
The beach.
Probably my pillow, because
Or your mouth tape.
sleep or mouth tape. Yeah, maybe mouth
Or
tape.
his ropes.
Yes.
They're very
Flow rope.
they're very sexual,
Flow rope.
just in your rope dancing.
Yeah, my rope
Just to
dancing, my
lighten
red
the-
flow ropes. Maybe my mouth taped whilst using my flow ropes. But I think, yeah,
it's a different
I don't know.
episode.
Lots of things. I think health.
Something to do with health. Something that would represent health. Okay. So my second object would be a dog lead. Because we haven't, I know we've mentioned family time.
Is that for me? I don't think we should bring that up in the podcast.
That's a different podcast.
I mean, that's Friday afternoon kinky stuff.
You're sick.
No, I've spoken before about how much comfort I found, especially in the years after Joshua had died, walking in the mountains, like the Wicklow Mountains, with our first dog. And dogs, even though I was actually not a dog person before we got our first dog, but since then we're now on our third dog. And the dogs have been hugely important in my life. And you know how often you just find me lying on the ground somewhere with Lacey. So a dog lead, that would be my second object.
Okay, nice. I don't actually know what I was trying to write this stuff down earlier on, thinking like after I got like past two things, I thought, well, then it'd be just like, close the casket.
You mentioned something to me yesterday.
Oh, friendship.
Oh, right, no.
Okay.
That was
Well, what did I mention to you yesterday?
one of Luca's football boots.
Yes.
Because that provides you with joy and pain at the same time.
Definitely.
Or stress and
stress and pain, and I think it's that beautiful kind of nexus of contrasts of like, you know, exhilaration and pain over 90 minutes. And since Luca was 4 years of age, I've been at all his games. I've been at I can't even imagine how much I've been at, and we had a great cup game the other day where he played superbly well, and I was proud as punch. And I remember like being at that game, and he had like the most horrendous scenario where he gets taken on with a minute to go because they want him to be in goal for the penalties because he's a really good goalkeeper, and they wanted him to get it right. But when they take him on, he concedes a goal straight away.
I think the score was 2-2 at that point.
No, the score was 2-2, so they take him on thinking they're only going to be 30 seconds left. They immediately concede when he comes on, so now he's the villain of the show. He's only been on the pitch 30 seconds. He let the ball in. I am literally about to have a heart attack. Then 20 seconds later, the other side, up the other end of the pitch, there's a penalty. They score again, and now it's 3-3, and this all happened in the space of 60 seconds. I had about 17 heart attacks. It went to extra time, and then it went all the way through extra time to penalties, and then in the penalty shootout, he saved 3 of the penalties. And I'm not going to lie, I did cry. Luckily, it was sunny, and I could hide my tears, but it was like bonkers to watch that and just think, here's this 6'5", 6 kid who I've been watching since he was, you know, up to my ankles.
I think you came home, you had to lie down in a dark room for an hour to calm your nerves.
It was very intense. It was really very intense. But I think, I guess it's just, again, an extension of parenting, but it's also when you find those things with your kids, and Bex, you know, your kids are now at that age where they're really getting into their activities and their sports, and I see that. And you find things that really bind you, especially through those teenage years, because you can tend to lose each other in those moments.
And obviously it can be other things than sports. It can be art, it can be culture, it could be...
No, it can only be sport, and preferably football.
I know, and when I watched you run, and like...
I know you posted that, I saw that.
And you
that
know
was
how
beautiful.
bold I am. Like, I just have a bold, I'm not that emotional all of the time. I cry because her running makes me cry, because it's the one time I see her being hugely confident. And that sounds funny because she's a great kid and she's happy, but it's the one time she owns something and it's hers. And I think she's going to be, I was a very team sport gal, but watching her solo run, and that's for 6-7-year-old, I'm like, she blows my mind. My children blow my mind at how much better they are as humans than I am. And I think that's the thing about kids, right? Your kids.
But I think it's wonderful when you see your kid find something that really lights them up.
And that you haven't forced, doesn't kind of being like, you should definitely do art or French, or that they kind of just get into.
Football.
I do, look, I am terrible. I'm like Justin. For me, probably because I'm not the most academic, watching people excel at sport just turns me on.
Yeah, I think it's...
Not little children. Just, let me put that in there. Is that in there? Is that in there?
Yeah.
Because I said turns me on really slowly and non-apologetically, and then I just spoke about my kid. So not children.
Okay,
Actually,
so just to
nobody
be-
turns
just-
me on.
just to
Let's
be
move
clear,
on.
Nobody
Let's talk about
here
death.
is turned on by little children. We should have a health warning at the start of the podcast.
Can we ticker tape this?
Yeah, but I think when you have that idea of seeing your kids do things where they find their own lane, their own thing that they're good at, it's just fantastic. And I'm so anti telling kids, oh, you should be a lawyer, you should be an accountant, you should. I think inside us all we have an innate ability to figure our shit out as we go along, and if we get in the way, it derails. And I spend my time sitting in front of people who go, oh, I've been a lawyer for 30 years, but I hate my job and I never wanted to do it in the first place. So I think sport, art, whatever is a way for them to find their space to own something and build a version of who they want to be.
Yep. So we'll bring Luca's football boots for you. They're very smelly. I don't know if we can actually have them.
They're incredibly smelly.
We might have to buy a new pair just
Yeah.
for the occasion.
Yeah. Well, get on to Vinted. Don't buy new ones.
No. I'm on Vinted now. Okay, fourth. Are we? Oh no, my third item I think would be a pair of dumbbells. Because that would kind of represent for me health, wellness. Because once I found that, it's made such a big difference in my life, and I love seeing now, when I train other women my age, to see what a difference it makes in their life. So bring a pair of dumbbells.
Yeah.
You can bring the light ones. You don't have to bring the heavy ones.
Yeah, we'd have to bring the light ones because just your dumbbells intimidate me and I lose my masculinity having to try and compete with your biceps. So yeah, just a light one in case I have to pick it up.
Yeah.
That would be really helpful.
All right, fourth item.
Friendship.
Okay.
So I was thinking, I'm not the kind of biggest friend person on the planet.
You said you went to an event recently and tried to recruit friends.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's why I was just going to recirculate that message saying, I am always on the lookout for new friends.
So if somebody wants to be part of that fourth item brought to you,
Yeah.
to your funeral.
Beatrice never has to worry about you picking up women. It's just mates.
Yeah. It's just me going around going, can I be your friend? I really value friendships, and I have, as you know, I have a little group that go out every Sunday night, and we have a podcast. We call it Mass. We go to Mass every Sunday. Sorry, a podcast? Not a podcast. A sauna.
Absolute traitor.
Yes.
I love how you have not so Christian brothers that goes out on Thursdays, but on Sunday you're doing mass. What the hell is Terry?
podcast.
Pull
Father
it. Pull
Caffrey.
this whole thing. Turn off the cameras. You absolute
Father
traitor.
Catholic.
Has it gone? Has it done well?
No. So no, it's not a podcast. It's a sauna. So we have a sauna every Sunday, and we call it Mass, and we kind of go in, and we always have like a bit of a confessional where we kind of talk about what's going on in our lives, or checking in how everybody is. And I just love the simplicity of that friendship. And I have, a handful of friends that I know I could call on whenever I want to have a chat. I'm not one to seek advice from friends. I don't ever really bother with that at all. But I love just chewing the fat. And I love being there to hear how other people are getting on. So I think friendship for me would be important.
Okay, so should we bring a sauna hat?
Bring some of my friends and sit them on the table. Yeah.
Okay. All right. My fourth item would be, I would just leave it as a question mark, because one of the things on Saturday for Anne was her passport, and it was the fact that she had packed so much into her life in the last years, and that I think she had done 24 trips.
Mm.
And just the fact that she really, like in the last years of her life, that she did the things that she wanted to do. So I'm obviously hoping that the day where you have to bring these four objects for me is a long way in the future, and that there's still something new to come in my life that I'm excited, that I don't know about yet, but that's exciting. And that might be important.
I think that's a really good way to consider the fourth item. I think
There you go.
I'm probably going to be still. I was looking at my mother the other day. My mother is 91 now, 90.
90.
And she was at Colm's. She was at Anne's funeral, and I think she loves a lot of alcohol. Is on about 90,000 different medications, but I think she's still going to be going till 110. And my
Probably.
dad was there as well. So I think I'm kind of thinking, hopefully we're both around for a long time. So there's tons left to go.
Exactly.
I told your mum she smelt nice 3 times. awkwardly as I held her hand.
You told her that she's not fat?
No, I said, you smell nice, Fran. You smell nice, Fran. 3 times staring into
Because
her
you couldn't
eyes
hear it.
and holding her hand. No, because I had a really awkward moment where I didn't know how to communicate. And I find I do struggle socially. As you know, I'm inept. And I decided to tell this woman that she smelled nice, and everyone just kept going, move on, Rebecca.
And she smells like
I don't know.
Lucy Kennedy.
Yeah, which is also awkward. Anyway, guys, so much
right.
to unpack there. I hate the word unpack, but with this after show on what you've just spoken about, because my God, that blew my mind, because I actually just went, oh my God, I would have just, oh my God. But that was stunning, and actually did you both a service. And to be honest, I don't think anyone will bother their whole with those 4 things for you guys. We'll probably just forget that. If anything happens where you're gone together.
Yeah. Just everybody get
If
pissed.
there's an accident in the studio. Okay. That was beautiful, but we have a DM, and we've had a few DMs because obviously we've had a few weeks lapse where I haven't really looked at them or gone into the DMs. So we've a few, so we can cover those over the next few weeks. But this one I think is quite good. Total change in direction and tone and vibe, theme. But I think it's a good one, even in keeping with marriage, relationships, and the loss of someone. So this is a real change for this guy. Okay. Hi guys, I'm sending lots of love to Colm. Thank you for that. That's very kind. And I'm looking forward to hearing him soon again with Justin. So are we. I'm a 45-year-old, so not old, newly single father of 2, and I actually don't know what the best trait in a partner is for when I start dating again, if I do. And with your life experience, both of you, in pretty solid marriage, what would you consider as a hugely important character trait in midlife? Cheers and love the show, Peter Thomas. So, in effect, a new time, it's not your 20s, new things, maybe not looking to have kids, maybe not looking to settle. Just what you think. And it's kind of a good question.
What do you think? Do you want to go?
I think the same kind of applies as it would even in your 20s. And I'm just thinking back of when we met the first time. And I think it's honesty and transparency. Do you remember? So Justin and I met on an online dating website in 2004. We were the pioneers of Tinder, basically.
Datingdirect.com.
Or was it Match.com?
No, well, you were on loads of them. I was only on one.
It was one of those. But my experience back then was that people would portray themselves as a certain person, and then when you met them in real life, there was a big difference. And the one thing with you was that it was literally you were the person that you had said you would be in your profile, in your description. That was it.
My photograph was taken whilst I was hungover. I basically went in front of my camera and went. So it could only be a step up.
But I mean, I haven't been on Tinder or any of these dating apps because
Hopefully,
I
yeah.
haven't needed to. But I think, what you hear a lot is that people aren't really honest about their appearance, about many things. And I think if you are, going back into the dating sphere now, if you're newly single, I think being honest about your life, being honest about your personality is really, really important. That's my suggestion. What do you think?
I agree. And in fairness, you were quite honest as well. But in stark contrast, you had a professional photo shoot and you looked really, really hot in your photographs, which is
and
very
in reality.
helpful. Yeah, no, in reality, you looked pretty good too.
Thanks. It's good to know. Well, it's all right. It's been 20 years, so it worked.
Oh my God.
It was just a contrast. I was just, just a common man.
Do you still feel a little bit hurt because I walked away after our first coffee?
Yes, look at you, how you have to be a little bit mean there, but you're just actually thinking back to when she was like, no, I'm not going to shag you. Bye.
did dump
This is
me.
exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
That is exactly what happened. Yeah, well, we won't get into that today.
No.
But now I've lost my train of thought. So I think
Okay.
humility.
Yeah.
Because I really think that when you get into your 40s, hopefully you have de-shackled yourself with all of the kind of nonsense and bollocks that exists in terms of I'm this and I'm that, da. I think there's a great part of aging that's really beneficial. And I had a message today I was saying to you, Peter, who's the dad of a kid that used to play football with Luca. And he was saying to me, "Oh, I've started doing flow rope." So just get the flow rope in again. I've started doing flow rope because he's watched me doing my madness rope work, and he also said, and then 6 months ago I did a 3-day water fast, and he also said I learned how to swim, and I think, and he said I did all that after 50, and I think as we age, we can be so much easier on ourselves. So it's okay to say, hey, I can't swim. And I think to be in a partnership, to be in a relationship with somebody who has that level of humility, where you can just come along and be yourself, it just means that you get from 0 to 10 in your relationship at such lightning speed, as opposed to trying to navigate through all of the stuff that we put in the way, pretending to be this person, that person, or anything else.
I do also, I completely agree with that. And I think what changes, you've both said it should be the same things, honesty, humility. I agree with that. But I also think your sense of humor, I do think, personally speaking, from my experience, in your 20s, you are looking for a certain person, and maybe that's a goal orientated thing where you're looking at your life. And I don't know if sense of humor and that comedic sense and that joy is as important then, because you're kind of working on your plans, right? But I do think when you've gone through things in life that have really beaten you down, sense of humor is massive.
Absolutely.
Joy, laughter, like you lying on the ground with Lacey. Like I lie on the ground frequently with Tori when I'm having a bad day because it lifts my heart, right? Laughing so hard you need to wee, and physically for me that's a thing, right? But I will also laugh at the two things there. I need to, because I'm not going to talk about this stuff in the after show. I want to talk about something else. Is the Germanic sense of getting the perfect headshots for like, I love that. No Irish person would even think of that. Like the fact that you just were like, A game, right? I'm getting a partner. And the fact that you did a shit photo. But also like, I don't think Irish people can be dishonest on it. I think we don't have the ability to come with all that maybe show busy thing on a date. So when you said like you just came just and you were you, I don't think Irish, like we can fake it maybe on a profile or for a while voice memoing or sexy text. But then when you see us, Irish people just basic bitches.
Yeah, exactly. I think we're probably like the pastiest, ugliest nation as well.
No,
we really have to
horrendous.
kind of,
Absolutely appalling.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah, we don't look good.
Terry and I
life.
are sitting here and we're
Terry,
Irish.
just dim the lights down a bit there as well while I'm saying that.
You two look very colour coordinated there, actually. Is that the brand colours?
You
did,
messaged me and I said, Terry, I already know that because we were texting last night about Pantones. Like that's what Terry and I talk about. We're getting our Bumble. Is it Bumble Tinder? That was a really gorgeous show. I've so much to talk about regarding funeral and items. So much that I want to say about that because Beatrice made an incredible point, and that will be coming on the Saturday. But for a show that was pretty hard to put together and get together, I'm glad we're all here. I know we're all thinking about Colm, and Justin, you are the most incredible brother. Honestly, I think it's really important to say that. We all have families. We all know brothers. You have been incredible. And I know Colm will say that when he gets a chance to breathe. Like, subscribe, get involved.
Yeah. Subscribe, like, support us. We need your following. It makes a big difference. We want this show to keep going and keep growing. Oh, and I hope you like our new studio.
You guys look really good.
Like black
Not So
sounds.
Christian
Fantastic.
Brothers is going nowhere, so get involved.